So a few hours ago, that slick guy Preston over at Flightone decided to make Falcox the new 10th iteration of the RaceFlight/Flightone firmware, available for public beta. Now, I've tried Falco in the past, don't tell anybody, but it was really early and it didn't have certain items built into it like the OSD and stuff like that yet for like voltage and everything. So I really wasn't ready to try it out. Hence, I put Betaflight on the board, been having a great time with it. It's one of my best flying, if not my best flying quad. But now that I'm super satisfied with the way that my other Source 1 with 4.0 and the older electronics, the 5S build is flying, let's just go ahead and let's get this Falco loaded up on here. So in order to do that, there's a few things that we have to do. So the first thing I needed to do was reconfigure the way CROSSFIRE is wired up, because it is wired up differently for Betaflight. So I had to basically go back to TX1 and RX3 on the RaceFlight board. That's just kind of the way that they have things hard-coded in there. Don't ask me why, but that's just kind of how they do it. The other thing I wanted to make sure was that I had my Bolt 32 updated to the latest revision, stable revision that is, of BL 32, so that's already done. Double check that. And of course, we needed to go to flightone.com/beta and download the Falco Beta 1 10.1 DFU Flash. So this is pretty cool. We'll just go ahead and fire up the Flightone configurator and load this all on. This has got all of the info that we need here as far as what's going on inside of the new Falco. We'll look at that more in depth later on. One other important thing that I needed to do was connect to Betaflight and go ahead and just do a full dump and save of my Flightone Beta 4.0 PIDs, filters, complete dump here, just in case things go wrong. I can always go back. So now that that's done, we can go ahead and fire up the Flightone configurator, because we are all set and ready to go. We're going to have to use the configurator just to flash Falco, because Falco is all configured through the actual OSD. So not trying to play dad here or nothing, but it's pretty important to listen to what Preston says. If you've tried Flightone before on your rig and you had problems, Falcox is not going to fix that. It's optimization firmware. They have added a couple little things here and there to make things a little bit better, but the whole point is to make things easy and to work with the Flightone hardware. So if this is your first time flashing Flightone, I would definitely recommend that you stick with one of the current builds with the configurator. Beta builds, testing periods are crazy, getting help, and people make a lot of silly mistakes and it kind of hogs up the chat. I've been through this a few times with Helio and stuff back in the days. Just like in all my noise analysis videos and stuff, it's good to know what's going on with your quad and that it's flying good before you start making super abrupt changes. And we want to load a file. We want to load this binary hex right here, which is the newest version. Alright, so now what we're going to do is just go ahead and get our radio and everything ready here. I was playing some Velocidrone earlier. For the first part of this configuration, I was just using my little screen. It's kind of difficult to see, but we'll go into the OSD after I did the original setup, and we'll go through the menus and show you what it actually looks like inside. And this is probably going to be really hard to see. So it says, when you can see the OSD, move your arm switch. So I am going to go ahead and move my arm switch. So we're going to go ahead and move the arm switch.
Arm motors.
Moves the sticks in circles for 2 seconds. Lay quad down flat and center all sticks. Okay. Only move throttle to the bottom. Move yaw stick left. Move pitch stick back and down. And roll left. Now, this is for props out. We definitely want reverse props, so we're going to be yawing to the left. Place your arm switch in arm position and roll right. Make sure props are off, roll right and yaw left to confirm props are off. Okay, spinning motor 1. Push both sticks towards the center, the corner of the motor spinning. So we're going to be pushing both of our sticks to where they are going. Are you using BL Heli 32? Roll right for yes, left for no. Yes. In the front is the front left motor spinning counterclockwise. Yes, it is. Is the front right motor spinning clockwise? Yes, it is. Roll right. Is the rear right motor spinning counterclockwise? Yes, it is. Roll right. Is the rear left motor spinning clockwise? Yes, it is. Roll right. Put the quad on its nose and push roll stick to the right. Quad is on its nose. Roll stick to the right. Everything just reset. And looks like everything is loaded up there. Wizard's complete. Please power cycle. So we're going to pull the plug here. Just pressed and recommend. Let it sit here for about 10 seconds.
Telemetry lost.
And now we're going to fire it up. Falco X, disarm.
Disarm motors. Arm motors. Disarm motors. Arm motors. Disarm motors.
All right. Everything is all set up and working here. That is good news. So as you can see, as long as you have everything wired properly and you follow the settings and the steps that are lined out for you, everything will go just fine. Now this kind of configurator here really isn't all that new. Immersion RC was doing it on a smaller level years ago, starting with the Vortex 285. Preset tunes, everything like that. Of course, nowhere near the functionality or ability of this. And this is Flight 1's goal, to make everything super simple and just eliminate all the options to make things easy. So now let's go into the OSD and I'll page through the menus and just kind of explain each one of them to you. So after initial setup, this is the first screen that you'll see, which is your boot screen, of course. And those elements that you see there that say Falco X and disarmed and your voltage, those are actually active OSD elements that you can move around and change and turn on and off within the OSD configuration tab inside of the configurator. After holding both sticks down and to the left, you will come into screen number 1. This is where we can select our tunes, and these are all custom presets, or you can actually change your PIDs yourself inside here. You can see that some of the presets will tell you whether or not they're pre-made for multi-shot or BLHeli 32, D-Shot 32, and you'll be able to change that later in the configurator. The next screen is where we can actually set our rates, deadband, all that kind of stuff. So hopefully you know how to use those. If not, you can actually use a calculator that will get you kind of close from beta flight to flight 1. Screen number 3 is our filters. Now these are all preset with your custom PIDs that we selected in the first screen, but of course you can go in and change these and tailor these to your heart's desire. Also, dynamic anti-aliasing can be turned on and off inside this screen as well. Screen number 4 is where we can actually do our TPA or PID curves, as they would call it, and this is where we can change all that stuff based on our throttle position. Screen 5 is our mode setup, and currently there are 2 mode setups. There is Copa or turtle mode, whatever you want to call it, and there is buzzer. And they both work great as long as you have switches set up on your radio. All you have to do is follow the instructions, and it will just go ahead and assign those and work really easy. That screen also has the ability to change your OSD, so that's where you're going to go to turn things on, move them around, everything like that. And CG comp down there, that's like your anti-gravity, so that's where you can change that as well. So far so good here. The next screen is where you set up your VTX. If you're using smart audio, you can do all that kind of stuff inside of here. So that's pretty nice that that's built in. I'll be using CROSSFIRE to do that. Screen 7 is where we can actually set what protocol that we want to use on our ESC. And screen 8, of course, is to save and exit or reset and start all over. And please power cycle your flight controller after making changes. So that's it. Mission accomplished. Super easy configurator. Looks really good in the OSD. I like all that functionality. Anytime I can get away from a desktop, that is just one step closer to making me happy. Now, I'm sure I'm going to have to play with some of these settings because my filtering in beta flight surely won't match up with the filtering in flight 1. Flight 1 does have a slight edge when it comes to how much filtering is done on the gyro itself, but we should be able to get pretty close. I have a pretty good idea. Everything flew good on this quad before. With flight 1, I just really wanted to know what was going on inside of it. Went with beta flight, worked really hard, got it dialed in, and now we're going to undo all that. So, going to fly it, let you guys know how it goes and what I end up with. Stay tuned for more. Talk to you later.